Nobody talks to you about death. Not really. You get told it happens. You get told it is sad. You get a funeral, some flowers, some people saying sorry for your loss, and then the world keeps moving, and you are expected to move with it. Nobody sits you down and says, here is what death actually means. Here is what it does to the people left behind. Here's how to think about the fact that everyone you love is temporary. 5 Anime did. Today we are going through 5 anime that approach death in completely different ways, each one revealing something about mortality that no philosophy class, no therapy session, and no self-help book ever managed to put into words. Anime 1. Clannad after story what it teaches. Death is not the end of love, it is the test of it. Let me be upfront about something. Clannad after story will break you, not in the dramatic action sequence way, in the quiet Tuesday afternoon way. In the way where you are watching two people build a life together slowly, imperfectly, beautifully, and then the show takes it from you. Nagisa dies giving birth to their daughter Ushio, and what happens to Tomoya after is one of the most psychologically accurate portrayals of grief ever animated. He does not fall apart dramatically, he goes numb, he removes himself from his daughter's life for years because being around her means being around the proof that Nagisa is gone. He functions, he works, he exists, but he is not alive. What Clannad after story understands that most media gets completely wrong is that death does not end a relationship, it transforms it. Tomoya does not stop loving Nagisa, he cannot. She is in every room, every memory, every feature of the daughter he cannot look at. The question the anime asks is not how do you stop loving someone who is gone. It is how do you keep loving them without letting that love become the reason you stop living. The answer it gives slowly, painfully, over several episodes is that you do it for what they left behind. You do it because loving them means honoring what they cared about, and Nagisa cared about Tomoya and Ushio and the life they were supposed to build. Anime 2, Violet Evergarden, what it teaches, the words we never said can still be heard. Violet Evergarden is about a former child soldier who lost both arms in a war, and the man she loved with every limited emotional capacity she had. His last words to her were I love you. And she spent the entire series trying to understand what that meant. The genius of Violet Evergarden is that it approaches death through language, through the letters she writes for other people, people dying, people separated, people who ran out of time to say the thing that mattered. And in writing their words, she finds his. There is one episode, episode 10, that is regularly cited as one of the most emotionally devastating pieces of animation ever created. A terminally ill mother asks Violet to write letters to her young daughter. Letters for every birthday, every milestone, every moment she will not be there for. She is writing her love forward, into a future she will not see. The episode aired and immediately broke the internet. People were not just crying, they were calling them mothers, texting people they had not spoken to in years, because it made something viscerally real that the people we love have a limited number of days left with us, and most of us are spending them assuming there will be more. Anime 3. Angel Beats what it teaches, you cannot rest until you have actually lived. Angel Beats is set in an afterlife that looks like a high school. Teenagers who died before they were ready, before they experienced what they needed to, are stuck here, unable to move on. Rebelling against the system because moving on means disappearing, and disappearing feels like dying all over again. What Angel Beats understands about death is something psychologists have documented in real palliative care research. The most common regret of the dying is not what they did, it is what they did not do. Experiences they postponed, relationships they avoided, versions of themselves they were always going to become someday. Each character in Angel Beats died with something unfinished, not a task, an experience, a feeling, a version of themselves they never got to be. And the only way to move on, to actually rest, is to finish it. The question Angel Beats leaves you with is deeply uncomfortable. If you died today, what would keep you here? What would be unfinished enough that you could not let go? That question is worth sitting with. Not because the answer is depressing, because the answer tells you exactly what you should be doing with the time you have right now. Anime 4. Anohana what it teaches. Grief shared is grief survived. Anohana. The flower we saw that day is about a group of childhood friends who fell apart after the death of Maiko, the most beloved member of their group when they were children. Years later, Jinta sees her ghost. What Anohana gets profoundly right is something grief counselors emphasize repeatedly: unprocessed grief does not go away. It waits. It sits inside the people who were supposed to mourn together but did not. It expresses itself as distance, irritability, self-destruction, numbness. Each of the 6 friends responded to Maiko's death by retreating into themselves, by building lives that carefully avoided the people who reminded them of what they lost, and in doing so they trapped themselves, not in grief, in the moment just before they allowed themselves to feel it. The resolution of Anohana is not that grief ends, it is that grief shared becomes survivable. The moment the 6 friends finally say out loud what Maiko meant to them, finally allow themselves to cry together instead of separately, something shifts, not healing. Release. Real grief researchers call this the witness effect. The presence of another person who also loved who you lost makes the loss real in a way that private grief cannot. It confirms that the person existed, that they mattered, that their absence is a real hole in the world, not just in you. Maiko could not move on until the people she loved acknowledged together that she was gone, and that they missed her, out loud, together. Anime 5. Death Parade: What It Teaches. How you live matters more than that you died. Death Parade asks one of the oldest philosophical questions in the most unusual setting possible, a bar between life and death, where 2 souls who died at the same moment play a game and are judged. Not on whether they were good or bad, on what they reveal about themselves under pressure. The arbiters, beings who run the bar, are supposed to remain emotionally neutral, detached. They judge. They send souls to reincarnation or to the void, mechanically, without feeling. And then one of them, Decim, begins to feel. And that is where Death Parade becomes something much more interesting than a death anthology. Because the anime's real argument is not about what happens after death. It is about what the knowledge of death should do to the way you live. Every soul that passes through the bar is someone who ran out of time. Someone for whom there is no more opportunity to correct, to grow, to love better, to be more honest. The game reveals what they actually valued, not what they said they valued, what they revealed when survival was on the line. Death Parade is the only anime on this list that is not primarily sad. It is primarily challenging. It asks you to look at your own life with the clarity that only finality provides, and to start living accordingly. Now, while there is still time, 5 anime. 5 completely different answers to the same question. What do we do with the fact that everyone we love and we ourselves are temporary? Clannad says love them anyway, and let that love keep you moving when they are gone. Violet Evergarden says say the thing now, before the time runs out. Angel Beats says finish the life you were supposed to live. Do not leave it half done. Anohana says grieve together. Do not make loss a solitary experience. Death Parade says live in a way that the pressure of finality would not expose as hollow. That is the thing about the best anime that deals with mortality. It is never really about dying. It is about the urgency that the knowledge of dying should give to the act of living. And most of us, most of the time, forget that urgency entirely, until something reminds us. Which of these 5 hit you the hardest? And more importantly, is there something it made you want to do differently? Drop it in the comments.